What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Johnny K Picks, where I break down the fights for the upcoming UFC event. This week we have a pay-per-view, UFC 267, Blachowicz versus Teixeira. As always, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button for me, and don't forget to turn on those notifications so you don't miss out on any of my content. And also be on the lookout for my Johnny K Bets video that I'll post later this week, where I break down the bets that I will place for UFC 267. Okay, so before I get into my picks and predictions for UFC 267, I'm going to quickly recap UFC Vegas 41, Costa versus Vettori. So overall, I went 3, 2, and 1. I picked Neguramanou, Trinaldo by decision, and Vettori by decision correctly. The two that I did pick wrong were Choi and Edward. To be honest, Choi was looking really good in the beginning of the fight until he illegally kneed Caceres, which I 100% agree that did deserve a point deduction, but he finished out the round really good, which I gave it a 9-9 first round. But in the second round, Caceres must have went to the corner and just decided to start clinching up with him because he knew he couldn't strike with him. And once he started clinching up, that's when you can tell the veteran experience took over, and he quickly got that rear naked choke on him. And it was pretty impressive, I'll give him that. And for the Edwards fight, as I said in my previous video, I did think that Edwards had the advantage on the feet, which she totally did. But her takedown defense needs a lot of work. The book is out on her right now. All you need to do is take her down, get her to the ground, and she can't get back up. So until she learns some takedown defense or some scrambling abilities to get back up, she's gonna struggle in the UFC, but her striking is legit though. And the little monkey wrench where my one draw that I got was the Dawson-Glenn fight. Dawson, I thought, dominated rounds 1 and 2. It looks like in the third round he got a little gas, and some of the judges gave it a 10-8 round to Glenn, which that's a little dicey for me. I've seen numerous fights that look like that and didn't even come close to being a 10-8 round. So that draw was a little bit disappointing, but hey, the judges nowadays, you don't know what's gonna happen. They've been pretty suspect, so whatever. All right, so let's get to my picks and predictions for UFC 267, Blachowicz versus Teixeira. So the first fight I'm gonna break down is Amanda Ribas versus Virna Jandiroba. Ribas comes in at 10-2. 28 years old, 5'3" with a 66-inch reach. Jandiroba comes in at 17-2, 33 years old, 5'3" with a 64-inch reach. So since there's no women's fights on the main card this week, I figured I'd go ahead and do this one. But not just because of that, this is actually going to be a really good matchup, and the matchmakers did good in putting these two together. Both fighters are similar in styles. They both like to grapple and take you down. But with my pick, I am going to pick Ribas to win. I do think she is the better striker of the two. Ribas averages 4.25 strikes per minute with a 44% accuracy versus Jandiroba's 2.65 strikes per minute and a 46% accuracy. And then if you go to the striking defense department here, Ribas absorbs 1.78 strikes per minute with a 71% defense, which is crazy good, versus Jandiroba's 2.92 strikes absorbed per minute with a 53% defense. So again, Ribas definitely has a striking defense advantage here too. But what I will say is I will give Jandiroba the slight edge in the grappling department with the BJJ. But if we're gonna talk about wrestling and takedowns, I'm gonna give Ribas the edge on this one. I just think her takedown offense is way better than Jandiroba's. And if she's gonna wanna get it to the ground, I really think she can. She does average 2.31 takedowns per 15 minutes, with a 58% accuracy. So like I said, if she wants to take this fight to the ground, I really think she can. She just needs to be a little bit cautious about putting herself in some submission areas, because Jandiroba is good off her back. So with my pick here, I'm gonna pick Ribas to win by decision. Okay, so the next fight I'm gonna break down is Magomed Ankalaev versus Volkan Oezdemir. Ankalaev is 15-1, 29 years old, 6'3" with a 75-inch reach, and Volkan is 17-5, 32 years old, 6'2" with a 75-inch reach. So for me, this is a big test for Ankalaev, and if he wants to move up in the rankings, this is the test, or this is the time to do it. And I'm gonna say he does pass this test with flying colors and come out with the victory here. Ankalaev averages 3.41 strikes per minute with a 53% accuracy versus Volkan's 5.03 strikes per minute with a 45% accuracy. So the stats look like Volkan has the advantage in striking, but I'm going to disagree here. I do think Ankalaev is the better striker, and he does have more power, But that's not to say that Volkan doesn't have any power, because if he does hit you, you're going to go down. So in the striking defense department, Ankalaev absorbs 1.78 strikes per minute with a 65% defense, and Volkan absorbs 4.24 strikes per minute with a 55% defense. So right there you see that Volkan is a little bit hittable there. He likes to have forward pressure, and he just swings, and he doesn't care if he gets hit. He likes to be in a firefight. And to me, if you want to do that to Ankalaev, that's no bueno. But as I said, Volkan is very dangerous in the first round. He does have a couple wins under 1 minute. So like I said, he's very dangerous early. But as the fight does go on, he does tend to slow down and his power does diminish a bit. But I do think Ankalaev is going to play it safe for a little bit here. He's going to counter Volkan's strikes, and eventually he's going to knock out Volkan. I mean, come on. If you can knock out Ion Cutelaba twice in the first round, then you can knock out Volkan easily. So with my pick here, I'm going to say Ankalaev wins here by knockout. Okay, so the next fight I'm going to break down for you is Jingliang Li versus Khamzat Chimaev. Li is 18-6, 33 years old, 6 foot with a 72-inch reach. And Chimaev is 9-0, 27 years old, 6'2" with a 75-inch reach. So finally, Chimaev is back in the octagon. This dude is just nasty. So it's no surprise to anyone here that my pick is going to be Chimaev. Li averages 4.52 strikes per minute with a 42% accuracy versus, now get this, Chimaev's 9.03 strikes per minute with a 72% accuracy. Yes, you heard that right. That is insane. But do you want to hear something more crazy? Li absorbs 3.65 strikes per minute with a 59% defense versus Chimaev's, wait for it, 0.10 strikes absorbed with a 66% defense. Now, I don't want to sound like Li has zero chance in this fight, because he is a good striker. He does have knockout power, but I just think Chimaev is on another level here, maybe even 2 levels. But I will say, the one little red flag that we have to look out for here is Chimaev hasn't fought in over a year. And mainly the reason why was because of COVID issues, so I'm not 100% sure if he's fully recovered from all of his symptoms. But if he's even close to 100% back to what he used to be, he's going to win this fight easily. And it's very hard to predict how Chimaev is going to win the fight, because he can submit you, he can knock you out, he can go the distance. So with my pick, I'm going to say that Chimaev does win by a finish. And if you think that I'm trying to cop out, fine. I'll just go ahead and say he's going to win by submission. Are you happy? Okay, so the next fight we have is Alexander Volkov versus Marcin Tybura. Volkov is 33-9, 33 years old, 6'7" with an 81-inch reach. And Tybura is 22-6, 35 years old, 6'3" with a 78-inch reach. So for me, this is a very interesting matchup, but I'm going to take Volkov to win this one. We have Volkov coming in averaging 4.84 strikes per minute with a 57% accuracy versus Tybura's 3.63 strikes per minute and a 50% accuracy. And in the striking defense department, Volkov averages 2.88 strikes absorbed with a 54% defense versus Tybura's 3.31 strikes absorbed with a 55% defense. So overall in the striking department, I'm going to give the edge to Volkov. I do think he is the better striker, and he definitely has more power than Tybura. But here's where the fight gets a little bit interesting. Tybura averages 1.67 takedowns per 15 minutes with a 45% takedown accuracy, and Volkov only has a 67% takedown defense. So for me, Tybura's only path to victory is going to have to get Volkov to the mat, and if he does get Volkov to the mat, I think he's going to be in a little bit of trouble. Tybura has finished a couple of his wins by ground and pounds, and he also knows how to lock up a submission if the opportunity presents itself. In this fight, I do think it's mainly going to play out on its feet, which like I said, that's going to favor Volkov. And honestly, Tybura is a bit chinny. I've seen him get rocked by a couple heavyweights before. He does stay up on his feet though, but if Volkov can get him wobbled a bit here, I do think he's going to finish up and get the KO. So with my pick here, I'm going to say Volkov wins by knockout. Okay, so moving on up the card now here is Islam Makhachev versus Dan Hooker. Makhachev is 20-1, 30 years old, 5'10" with a 70.5-inch reach. And Hooker is 21-10, 31 years old, 6 foot with a 75.5 inch reach. So other than the two main events, I do think this is going to be the one to look out for, and I'm pretty excited to watch this one. But I'm going to go ahead and pick Makhachev to win here. I know there are some people out there that think Makhachev is a little bit overrated, or maybe tries to compare him to Khabib, but honestly, this guy is legit. Let's be honest. I know he's not known for his striking, but he averages 2.24 strikes per minute with a 58% accuracy, and Hooker averages 4.95 strikes per minute with a 48% accuracy. But here's the problem. Makhachev averages 3.31 takedowns per 15 minutes with a 65% accuracy. All Makhachev wants to do is take you down and grind you out and get the submission. Though I will say Hooker's takedown defense is pretty good. It's at 80%. So I think Makhachev is going to have to work a little bit harder than he usually does to try to get him down, because he is a little bit longer and lengthier. But I do think once that does happen and Hooker gets to the mat, I think it's going to be pretty much game over. If he doesn't get the submission right away, he's not going to be able to get up. Nobody gets up whenever Makhachev gets him on the ground. I know Hooker has the 5-inch reach advantage, and he's gonna have to keep his distance if he wants to try to win this fight. But in the end, I just don't see him successfully defending Makhachev's takedowns enough for him to win this. So with my pick here, I think Makhachev is gonna get the submission, and it might be in the second or third round. All right, so moving on up the card, we have co-main event time here. We have Peter Yan versus Corey Sandhagen. Yan is 15-2, 28 years old, 5'7" with a 67-inch reach. And Sandhagen is 14-3, 29 years old, 5'11" with a 70-inch reach. So this fight is for the interim bantamweight belt. And I'm going to be honest here, I think Yan got the short end of the stick on this one. I kind of think it sucks that he has to fight one more time to get to the title fight when he clearly deserves to fight Sterling right away. But with all that aside, I'm going to pick Yan to win this. Yan averages 5.99 strikes per minute with a 52% accuracy versus Sandhagen's 6.32 strikes per minute and a 47% accuracy. So I know the stats look pretty similar, but I'm definitely giving the edge in the striking to Yan. He's definitely the more technical striker, but Sandhagen, he is a good striker, but he's a little bit more wild. He likes to do those highlight kicks or knees, which I'll admit, it has worked out for him, so I'm not going to knock him for doing those. And those are the stats that I'm really going to focus on, only because I do think this fight is going to stay on its feet. And the only way I see it going to the mat is if one of them gets in trouble and they know that they can't strike with one another. And if that does happen, it's going to be Sandhagen, because Yan is one of the better strikers in the UFC. And for me, the big thing is I feel like Yan is on a mission here. He definitely wants his belt back after that illegal knee. I know he knows he did wrong, and he got disqualified, which that was for good reason. It just sucks when you see a title fight happen like that and it goes to DQ like that, when Yan was clearly dominating that whole fight. Like I said, I just don't see a way that Yan's gonna lose this fight. He is focused. He wants that belt back. He deserves to get a shot at that belt back. And honestly, I think he should be the champion. So with my pick here, I'm going to say Yan wins by knockout. Okay, so main event time here. If you enjoy my content, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button for me right now. Go ahead. I'll wait. Okay, so main event title time here. We have Jan Blachowicz versus Glover Teixeira. Jan is 28-8, 38 years old, 6'2" with a 78-inch reach. And Glover is 32-7, 42 years old, 6'2" with a 76-inch reach. So we have both fighters coming in with 5-fight win streaks, which is crazy to think, because you wouldn't think that a 38-year-old and a 42-year-old would be fighting in a title fight when they should be on the tail end of their careers. But honestly, it just seems like they're just hitting their stride right now, like they're in the prime of their career. But with my pick here, I'm gonna say that Blachowicz comes away with the victory. Jan comes in averaging 3.59 strikes per minute with a 49% accuracy versus Glover's 3.75 strikes per minute and a 47% accuracy. So again, it looks like the stats are pretty similar, but you know that Jan's striking is better than Glover's striking, let's be honest. If we're going to talk about striking defense, Jan averages 2.79 strikes absorbed with a 53% defense versus Glover's 3.84 strikes absorbed with a 54% defense. So the stats tell you that Jan gets hit a little bit less than Glover, which to me, that is a big advantage for Jan, because with Glover being 42 years old, he does seem a bit chinny nowadays. In the Santos Teixeira fight, Glover almost got caught a couple times and he was wobbled, but he ended up getting the victory on the ground. But it's a little scary when Glover gets hit on the chin nowadays. So if we're going to talk about grappling, Glover totally has the advantage in my eyes. He averages 2.04 takedowns per 15 minutes, and he has a 40% accuracy, and Jan's takedown defense is 65%. So again, if the fight does get to the mat, I think Jan's going to be in a little bit of trouble. I think he can hold his own, but who knows? Glover's really good on the ground and he likes to go for those submissions. So for me, I'm going to be honest, I don't think this fight's going to last too long. Obviously, Glover's going to want to try to get this to the mat, but I think he's going to try to see how he can strike with Jan, and Jan's going to clip him and he's going to get wobbled. And from there, I think it's going to be a short night for Glover. So with my pick here, I'm going to say Jan wins by knockout. Okay, so there you have it. Those are my picks and predictions for UFC 267. Blachowicz versus Teixeira. Please hit that like and subscribe button for me on your way out. Also, go ahead and comment below on your favorite picks or fights for UFC 267. And don't forget to be on the lookout for my Johnny K Bets video that I'll post later this week. I hope everybody enjoys the fights this weekend, and happy fight night or morning.